Hi, it's B. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to jump on here and give you an update on Ryan Upchurch and his mother, Patricia Burgess. It's been a minute. I don't care how you feel about him. This is my take on this is about a mother and a son, and how far do you go with your own family? And I know how far I'd go, so I'll just leave it at that. But in this situation, that's the reason I want to talk about it, because I did talk about her and what she's done, perceived to have done to him as a mother to a son, and now we have them in court. So Ryan filed I honestly haven't looked up the court transcript, or the court documents on it. So I do know that he's asking for $25 million for fraud and other crimes that she may have committed while using his funds without his knowledge. So on Wednesday, they were in court, and at this point in time, she's not represented, so she's pro se. And with that, they kind of give a little more leniency than if you have an attorney. I mean, there's sometimes they'll just go ahead and continue things or do stuff when you both are represented. But in this case, with her not having representation, it seemed to me that the judge was a little more lenient on time restraints and things that other people wouldn't necessarily get away with. So Ryan's attorney filed a case against her, and when you do that, it'll tell you in the document that you receive, it'll tell you how many days. It's different by state and county. There's different rules for these things, but sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 30. It depends on the case. So, but it'll tell you in the documents you receive when you are filed against, or there's a hearing filed and you receive your summons. It will tell you what you're being accused of, what the complaint is, what they want from you, and when you need to respond by. So if you do not, sorry, my dog's in my lap moving stuff around. If you do not have an attorney, please do not ignore documents of that nature. If someone summons you to court and you are served properly, respond properly. And just because you don't have an attorney doesn't mean you can't respond. A lot of courts are very lenient on pro se, and they take even handwritten documents sometimes. So go to your clerk's office and, say, I want to respond. What are my, will you take handwritten? Does it have to be typed up? What do you want? And I'll do it and get it to them, or just type it up and send it on. But don't ever not respond. That will usually result in a default judgment, which Ryan's attorney did ask for that in the course of this hearing. So at question are a lot of funds, financial funds, and then 7 properties. When we saw him go knock on doors and say, my name was on this deed, or this deed, those things, there was like maybe 2 that we were looking at. But so let's first establish Ryan had Upchurch Enterprises. It's his company. So then somewhere along the way, and we all saw it happen if you were watching any of it, he hired his mother to be like his booking manager and do some managerial stuff for him. And somewhere she created Blue Moon LLC. Blue Moon LLC is going to be the crux of all of this problem that we come across here. So she registered the company. She registered the company telling Ryan, and even in court documents have said she created that company to protect Ryan, to have another outlet for the funds, for the ticket sales and some things that were going on. So it was supposed to be like a side company to Upchurch Enterprise. It was never, in what we can tell now, supposed to be just a Patricia Burgess, Patty Lynn. We know her as Patty Lynn, so I'm just going to call her Patty Lynn, and that's maybe rude, but that's what I'm going to call her, because that's what anybody watching this is going to know who Patty Lynn is. So Patty Lynn created this company in her name for Ryan, but now says it's her company, and anything that went through that company or anything that funds to that company are her funds. And that's where we have the problem. So in this time period that Ryan's aware of, she misappropriated funds through that company. She used that company and purchased, so there were 7 homes, and let's kind of go through the homes, and I'm not going to list the homes, but they're numbers, and we're just going to do house 1 through 7. So house 1, Ryan was aware it was being purchased for the use of his brother. I don't want to but it's in there. So Austin, so he intended for Austin to live in this home and to help his brother. But what he found out was that the actual deed to the home is in Austin and Patty Lynn's name. Ryan's nowhere on it. The companies are nowhere on it. Anything. It's solely in their personal names of the brother and the mother. So then we have which that was never his intention. So then we have house number 2, which was purchased through Blue Moon LLC. And that's the one I'm assuming that there's a lot of, it's back and forth. I was listening to the hearing, and back and forth, the security guard is living in that home. And Ryan knew that it was purchased. Ryan knew that the security guard was living. So let's just clear something up, because it is cleared up in the case that Ryan did know homes were being purchased to help people out, for them to have a place to live, but they were going to be his homes for them to live in, if that makes clear that part up. So house number 2, but it's solely in Blue Moon LLC. House number 3, Blue Moon LLC. House number 4, Blue Moon LLC. House number 5, it was purchased with funds from Blue Moon LLC, but placed solely in Patty Lynn's name. House number 6. House number 6 was purchased with $500,000 cash from Blue Moon LLC, put in Patty's name in April of 2022. She transferred that into, she's out there too. I don't want don't send any hate to any of these people. Don't use their names to go at them or nothing of that effect. But her assistant, her friend, Tamara, she gifted essentially that house to her. Since this has come out, she transferred the title of that home solely to Ryan Upchurch at this point. So that one he kind of has back, but she still did all this. You can kind of correct the situation, but she still committed fraud when she purchased it and did the stuff to get it. So that one is back. And house number 7 is solely in Patty Lynn's name. She used Blue Moon money to purchase all these things. The only home that is purchased for Ryan, by Ryan, through Ryan, only nothing to do with Patty Lynn, is Ghost Ranch. And that's not included in this, but that's just a tidbit of these homes were, in some of them were meant for investments, some of them were meant for his best friend to live in, his security guard, and he knew some of this was happening, but they were to be purchased under his company. But here's where the problem is. Now, Patty's gotten caught on some of these things. And so she decided she was going to liquidate all of Blue Moon LLC, kick the friend out of the house, sell the house, so she could have funds to hire security for her. That's a whole nother thing. I think if you watch the saga go down, she has said that people are harassing her and that she's receiving death threats and things of that nature. And please don't do that. Don't do that. If anybody has done that, don't send any hate her way. She will get hers one way or the other. I mean, here on earth or somewhere else, it will happen. But so she wanted to move out of the state when all this was like, when he was evicting her from Ghost Ranch and that, she was like, fine, I'll sell everything in Blue Moon LLC and take the money and run. Well, okay, wait, where did that money come from? That was Ryan's money that was in Blue Moon. Although the company had her name on it, it was always Ryan's money going through Blue Moon. So in this, Patty stands up and says, they're suing me for $25 million. He's not even worth that. Okay, maybe she was nervous. Maybe she was upset. Maybe she's worried, scared. I don't know. But she just said her son's not worth $25 million. And I don't know his net worth. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, did she think she said that to her son. I can see where Ryan is hurt beyond measure from all that has happened. And then for her to continue that and stand up and say something like that was kind of like, did you think that through? Because that's kind of slicing him again. You know, I mean, it's not the worst thing she could do out of all this stuff, but it was like, here we are in court and you're going to, you know, throw daggers at him again of his worth. He's your son. He should be worth no amount of money. Nothing should be replaceable for that being your son. That's just my feeling on that. So she was going to leave it and sell it. Oh, in that process, so she was using all these funds to purchase these homes. But then when all this fell out, he realized that none of these property taxes, and he was paying out of his funds, he was paying for all the upkeep and everything to do with these homes, and she wasn't paying the taxes on them. So he has since caught up the taxes on those, and that's being paid. What else was there? So okay, so then they wanted a default judgment because she didn't respond until like a couple days ago. She stands up and she says, I didn't know I could respond on my own. That's what I'm telling you. If you don't have an attorney, do respond regardless. It will at least buy you more time, if nothing else, but you have some response in. I mean, think wisely before you answer the questions, but do answer them. So she stands up and says, well, I didn't know that. And someone reached out to me and said, you know, you can do this on your own. And then that's when she did it. But it was actually after the date that she should have done it. So they could have given him a default judgment solely based on her not responding. But because she was pro se, I think he gave her a little more credit. So there's a little bit more. So then another thing they're going to do is they are going to file contempt on her. Since June, they filed this case in March, I believe. Yeah, the case was filed in March. She was served. And since June, they know that she has, during this, there's a temporary restraining order in place there was currently prior to this hearing for her. That's a whole other thing. Everything was stop spending money, stop taking money, stop that happened during the thing. But she somehow had $60,000 transferred to PayPal accounts in June of 2023. So we're talking just before this hearing. I mean, come on, why are you still dipping in there? So they hired a business money man. The money man. They hired the money man and started doing some accounting. and found out that since June of 2020, and this includes the $60,000, but since June of 2020, she has transferred from Ryan through Blue Moon LLC $690,000. That's the accounting that she's allegedly, that's the I'm going to say cash money, but you know what I'm saying, like money. Now, there's thousands or millions in these homes. One was $799,000, another one was $500,000, and there's 7 of them. So there's millions in the homes, and then there's $690,000 in cash transferred to her PayPal account over time. So they will be filing contempt on the $60,000 because that was done after the temporary restraining order for this past hearing, till this hearing was placed. So in the end, he granted an RO. He took it from temporary to permanent pending the next hearing. And Patty Lynn has 15 days to respond to I think there's 122 points on the summons on the filing. So she has 15 days to respond. So somewhere in there, she stands up and she says, I have no problem with the restraining order and the funds, and they can keep the money, but I want my personal bank account. They froze my bank account. And he said, as part of this, and then the judge was asking her questions, and she says, well, she did it, talking about the lawyer. Oh, I have to tell you about the lawyer too. So somewhere in here, this lawyer is representing Blue Moon LLC in a hearing in January. Haven't looked into it yet, but that's something Patty Lynn brought up, and that she's claiming conflict of interest because this attorney is representing her on a hearing in January of 2024 that's for Blue Moon LLC, which now, is it hers or is it Ryan's, or I don't even know at this point. I mean, I know it was Ryan. It's all Ryan's funds, all of it. She just had it transferred into this account. So because her name's on it, she thinks it's hers. So that's where we're confused, and the court will figure this out and make a determination. But right now they just froze everything and said, stop it. No more funds go out until we figure out what's going on. So she does want to pull up the bar and have them. She's trying to get her, now Johnny Gobble's on it, and that this woman is conflict of interest, the attorney that Ryan's using. So we'll see where that pans out. But the attorney states emphatically that she does not represent Patty herself. So that's going to play out one way or the other. But the judge allowed her to continue this hearing and did not dismiss the hearing for any of that conflict of interest or anything. So we'll see. So she stood up, and Patty Lynn stood up, and she said, I don't contest that, the bank accounts and, all of that, the TRO. But she wants her personal account unfroze. And he said, oh, so you have a personal? And she said, well, it's actually mine and my oldest son's, Aaron's account. And he's high-functioning autism, and it's part of his money, too. And he said, okay, so there's a Social Security disability check going in. And she said, no, I care for him. I get paid to care for. And then she stops, and he said, well, where's the money come from? And she says, selling jewelry. And we all know she has Patty Lynn Thrifts, and she sells stuff on eBay, whatnot, Instagram Live. There's several outlets that she uses, but she's saying that money in that account is from selling jewelry. But somewhere in there she slipped up and said she was taking care of Aaron, so she was getting paid for that. She kind of stopped herself, so I'm not saying it came out fully. This is just what I heard. And then, but she said Aaron is still living at Ghost Ranch because he has high functioning autism. He doesn't like change, so he didn't want to move. So he's living with Ryan. Ryan's taking care of his brother. in his home, but she wants the bank account that's for money to take care of errands. So something's not right with that situation either. It didn't play out. It's still, things are staying frozen as it is right now. That's how this hearing ended. But why did she say that? And she said she says, no, I get money to care for, stopped, and this is his account as well, and he needs to have money too. And I don't think Ryan's not caring for his brother. I don't think Ryan's not giving his brother product or money, depending on what the situation is. I don't know the abilities of this person and what they're capable of. Obviously, she was handling some funds for him, so I don't know. But it just seemed really weird to me that you're going to, again, take another child's, or take funds for another child that Ryan's actually caring for him right now. So that doesn't make sense to me. So he's still living with Ryan. So how this ended was Patty Lynn has 15 days to respond. There's a permanent pending hearing restraining order for her to no longer touch funds. So she can't have access to his funds or buy, sell houses, do anything. And then we'll see where that goes. So there'll be another hearing coming up. I'm not sure when that is, but I don't know. She's got Johnny Gobble on her case, so I'm sure he's helping out. And this morning he played a clip that was her saying thank you for sharing the Zoom, because with that I have attorneys reaching out to me pro bono. So hopefully next time she shows up with an attorney and we'll see what happens. But as a mother, I can't see how she did this to her son. I just don't. That's a lot of money, people. I mean, between the houses and the actual cash funds, that's a lot of money that she has taken from her son. And he was good to her from all accounts. I mean, he's taking care of his friends and family and people that work for him. So to have to take more, it's disheartening. It's very sad that this is happening. Like I said, I don't care. I know people have issues with Ryan, don't have issues with Ryan. I mean, there's a love and hate there, but this is a boy, man. It's a boy. It's a boy to his mother. But this is happening to him. This is his real life. This is his mother doing it to him. So let me know how you feel, what you think. Did you watch the court case, or did you have any opinions on what Patty Lynn said? And does it make you think that Tamara knew something was wrong in order to give the home back to Ryan? Because technically Patty Lynn gave it to her. So if she just wanted to clear, I'm out, wouldn't you give it back to the person who gave it to you? Why would you transfer it into somebody else's name if it didn't belong to them legally in the first place? I don't know, but I'm anxious to hear what other people have to say, and I'll keep an eye out for the next hearing or anything else happening. Oh, what was it? So Patty Lynn did a live not too long ago with Tamara, and they were crying about people coming after them. I'm sorry, it just came back to me. They were crying out about people coming after them, and Tamara having to leave her job, or just a whole bunch. And I can only imagine. It's probably true to some degree, but not all the way. But she said, what people don't know is that I talk to all my kids. And so that alluded to like that her and Ryan were actually talking, and this really wasn't happening, but then court happened. So I think it's really happening. And then another thing, so prior to that, she deletes a lot of stuff, but she did a thing where she was in a room with I want to say blue turquoise ottoman. Colors could be off on the screen, but that's, and she had a handgun sitting there. And I just don't understand people. I mean, I own firearms. I'm not opposed to firearms. They don't scare me in that respect, but there's a lot of people using them lately that are like truly threatening people online, and that really needs to come to a stop. And a mother doing it to her son or to his fans, or however that's played out for her, I would hope that she doesn't do that again. That's just my opinion. And I don't know. I don't know why she's not fixing this. I don't know why she just doesn't correct it to the best of her ability, because I don't think she has a pot to piss in, personally, at this point. She doesn't have any of the homes. She doesn't have any funds. She doesn't have and I'm assuming, here's my theory. There's $690,000 cash. $500,000 of that went to purchase that home that she transferred to Tamara. So that's $190,000. $60,000 was just done last month. So we're down to $130,000. So I think she spent it all. I don't think there's anything for her to fall back on. I don't think there's any funds for her to actually have and her line's cut off. She's not able to transfer anymore. So tell me what you think, and let's have a discussion. Please be kind. I know, like I said, I know there's some people have some issues with Ryan. Don't show anybody any hate. There's no reason for it. This is just simply about a mother and a son, and a mother stealing from her son is, where I'm coming from, not necessarily his music or his lifestyle or any of that stuff. So come along, give me some comments. Let's talk about it. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so. Give it a like, dislike. I'll take either one, but hope to see you on the next one. Bye.